So yeah, welcome to our latest and greatest mini episode. The purpose of this show is we're going to focus on our Patreon page. We now have something called a Patreon, which if you don't know is additional content. If you really are a true fan of our show, if you love hearing us just talk about movies, you should go to patreon.com/Bondcast and subscribe. We've got some great extra things going on, extra shows, extra content.
This is going to help us transition into giving you even more shows than just Bond-related shows, even more of our voices, even more of our...
If I may, allow me to translate for those of you who are unfamiliar with the concept. This is the mini episode where we beg for money.
It's not really about that. I mean, yes, we love your money. And we want to bathe in it.
Yes.
But, I mean, the reality is we've been doing this show for 2 years, and we want to keep
It does
going.
cost us money, besides our time, but,
Yes.
it does cost us money to put
Time
it
is
out there.
money.
And...
We love doing it, and, we want to give our fans, like, extra stuff.
And we're
means...
doing it more now, and we're doing some more episodes and more content, and so we're bringing some extra added value to it, we think. So if you like what we've been doing so far, there's no reason not to check it out.
So
if you want to like what we do, then like it and do it in this way.
Be proud.
Yeah,
Be
proud.
Yeah.
Sing it from the rooftops.
So let's break it down for them. So basically, at the beginning of every month, we're going to do a show called Q Branch, which the purpose of that, Q Branch is going to be a bi-monthly show. So we're going to do it every other month. And the purpose of that show is to discuss where the Bondcast is going to go once we run out of Bond movies. So we've been talking about it behind closed doors, and we think what we're going to do is launch a movie franchise show, where essentially it's going to be the same format, or roughly the same format as our Bondcast, but it's going to be, we're going to progress beyond Bond, and we're going to talk about other movies.
Now, Matt has teased in the past that this will be a show about trying to figure out, like, we're going to have some kind of direction or purpose, but we haven't really figured out the nuts and bolts of that thing.
Right.
So that's going to be part of what Q Branch is also, is trying to figure out exactly how this will differ from our Bondcast, and what we're trying to answer, what we're trying to tackle, what we're trying to get to the root of, and maybe how we'll format the whole thing a little differently to more effectively discuss some of these franchises.
Which, if you become a Patreon supporter, we will accept your input and your recommendations, your thoughts, your questions, your
We'll give you
comments,
what's called
your
in the
concerns.
industry meaningful consultation.
Yes.
Yeah, so, like, I mean, that is cool. Anyone could chime in, and, like, people could have suggestions that might, sway us into doing whatever
Right.
it is they suggest. One big major thing is, like, we don't know to this day, like, what the name of the podcast
We
is
should
gonna
really
be.
probably figure that out.
Yeah, that's a major thing.
Figure
so
out
we'll
what
figure
the
out the
name is.
name.
That's a lot.
and
Because
the-
really, you should have some social media stuff going.
Yeah,
for this
exactly.
Stuff.
It's holding up our social
kind of
media.
need
'cause
a
we don't have a
name.
name.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then it's also, like, ultimately we're going to create a subreddit, some form of communication online, and, we don't know what to call that. So we need the name
On the World Wide Web.
on the World Wide Web. Yeah. So that's Q Branch. The other new show that we're doing is called No Time to Podcast, which is a play on No Time to Die, because that is the focus of the show.
No, time to podcast.
Right? No time to podcast? Question mark.
No. Time
to
podcast.
So that will be a monthly show posting at the end of every month, where basically we're going to discuss that month's information that we get regarding the behind-the-scenes goings-on of No Time to Die.
Let's hope we get a trailer soon. I thought that
gonna-
was supposed to be out for Joker, and it wasn't.
It wasn't on
That
Joker.
was the rumor, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
we're
the
gonna-
poster came out. Last week
Very
was
annoying.
James Bond Day.
Poster was lame too, by the way.
poster was very lame.
super lame.
We're going to try to bring your hype level up to max with this new No Time to Podcast show.
Yeah, and the great thing is, even when there's no news, we always find something dumb to talk about for at least like 20-something minutes.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
these shows are going to have us talking, much like the shows you've heard before.
Much like this present thing that you're listening to at this exact moment. Honestly, if you're listening to this, you should really jump on board, because everything we do is like it's all better than this.
If you listen to this, I highly recommend our Patreon.
What you're listening to right now is the worst of us. This
Yeah.
is the worst shit right now. So
True.
if you're listening to this, then you're ready. You're
It
ready
goes
for the good
up
stuff.
from here.
Yeah.
Yep.
You've hit rock bottom.
Yeah.
And you've got a friend.
Congratulations.
Got a friend.
Welcome to Rock Bottom.
Yeah.
We're here. We're here for you.
You've hit rock bottom and you got 3 friends.
And so speaking of the movie franchise show, that is the 3rd new show that we're doing. That is a full-length show that will be bi-monthly, opposite the Q Branch show. So one month it'll be Q Branch, the next month it'll be the movie franchise.
And by
show.
full length, Matt, you're talking what? How long are our podcasts? Normally, like what? 40 minutes, an hour, sometimes 2 hours.
2 hours. Yeah.
I mean, we could really talk forever sometimes. So.
Yeah. Sometimes we go on tangents. We love tangents here.
We like stuff.
Sometimes we riff. Sometimes.
There's sometimes where I think you guys don't know what I'm talking about.
There are frequent times when I know that I don't know what you're talking
I would
about.
say the majority of our shows is us wondering what the fuck Colin is talking about.
Yeah. It's been working for us. So
Yeah.
So on this show, or how we're going to work it for Patreon right now, is that we're doing the Austin Powers series. So we've got 3 episodes that'll come out every other month from now until April. April being our last episode of Bondcast, James Bondcast. So to fill the time between then, we're going to do the Austin Powers series, both because it is, obviously inspired by and spoofing James Bond, and because it is a new movie series that isn't too different from.
And if you check out our Patreon right now, we already have Austin Powers up
That's right.
to listen to.
The first
and we had a
episode
very,
is posted.
very special guest. Our friend Arun came on from the YouTube award-winning YouTube series Arun Considers. Came on as our guest commentator and had a great discussion with us. It was very funny stuff.
He was great, very funny. And right now the goal is to have a different guest for every single episode of that show. We'll see how that works.
Because some of these guests could be terrible. Arun was very good, but
Yeah.
some of these guests could be
Thank
awful. They could
God.
ruin everything.
And if you do subscribe to the Patreon, there is a link to allow you to listen to the Patreon podcasts in your podcast app.
Yeah.
And also all the other podcasts. And, you can get everything there.
Right, you can get everything all in one shot. So the way that works is once you sign up, once you subscribe to the Patreon, especially we didn't get into the tiers, but if you do there's 2 tiers. There's the $5 tier called MI6 Agent, and then there's the $7 tier, which is called 00 Status License to Kill. And they each give you different things. We'll get into that in a second. But basically, once you sign up, you get a link emailed to you. It's called an RSS feed. You take that link, and if you go into the podcast app, the iTunes, whatever that podcast
podcast
is
app.
called, there's an option. If you click edit, you can add a podcast via RSS feed link, and you paste that in there. You hit go, and it pops up, and it's a simple thing.
Yeah, and if any of that thing that Matt was saying is unclear, Google that shit. I'm
Google
sure there's a YouTube tutorial that covers all of this that we're talking about now.
Yeah. And then the 2 tiers.
Yeah, so the 2 tiers. So for $5 a month, you become an MI6 agent. And what that gets you is access to Q Branch. So you get a brand new Q Branch every other month. It also gives you access to No Time to Podcast every month. So you get two brand new shows. For the $7 tier, the 00 Status License to Kill, that gets you both of those shows plus the full-length show, which is currently untitled. The movie franchise show.
Yes.
With Austin Powers.
I think it should be called Bondcast, James Bondcast Part 2.
Whoa.
It's like a franchise.
Yeah. Can we do part 2?
Yeah.
That was a
Okay.
deep cut. I see where you're going with that. What you also get on the $7 tier is what we're trying to do is have more interaction between us and the fans. So if you're a part of that tier, you can comment on the Patreon and send us questions. You can send us songs. A lot of people do remixes of the James Bond songs and so on. And at some point, we're going to do a contest. I don't know what the prize will be. I don't know what the contest will be, but we've promised it, and thus it shall be.
The prize
So
could
it is
be
written, so it shall be done.
a romantic evening with Colin.
Yes.
Maybe.
That'd be great.
If they're lucky.
I mean,
but
we will also be.
It's a
giving away-
romantic evening with me, so it's an evening with me, and then you two are responsible for making it romantic.
I'm going to be singing like Sebastian the Crab behind you.
We're like
He's
the
to
two
go.
guys from like Lady in the Tramp. Like one's playing the guitar, the other's
Yeah.
just singing.
Oh, you got to get one of those platters that has the dome thing over it, and then reveal something from
like a
inside.
head,
Yeah.
a human head.
Oh God!
We will also be providing prizes of value in addition to that.
We hope. Yeah. Put it this way: the more people who subscribe, the more money we have to invest in a prize.
to
Exactly.
lavish on our prize winners.
Exactly.
Yes.
On the romantic
You see
evening.
how this works.
Yes.
It's called a pyramid scheme.
Great. So yeah, do you guys have any thoughts or questions about?
Just
Whole
join the
process.
Patreon already. You know you want to.
Well, here's another interesting tidbit: is that so people have been asking what happens, when we do all the Bond movies. Are we gonna? Obviously, we're not gonna continue to do a show called Q Branch and No Time to Podcast because No Time to Die will have been released. No one's gonna care about the news about that movie. So we're basically gonna have to radically shift what the Patreon is at that point because the movie franchise show will become the regular show. Replacing Bondcast, James Bondcast. So then we'll have to do something else for the Patreon. It'll be bonus content. Maybe we'll do an extra movie or
They're gonna get all the best stuff though.
yeah.
If they contribute.
It's still gonna be great. We're not gonna
Yeah. So listen, if you've been listening to the free stuff and you're like, oh, this is all kind of shitty. Hey, that's just because we keep the best stuff for
Exactly.
the paying
Yeah.
customers.
Exactly.
Yeah, we only get better.
That's
Yeah.
right.
If you don't like us, you should still
because you're
Patreon.
not paying us enough to be great.
Yeah.
And I would say our
If you
show,
do like us, also Patreon.
I would say our show has been pretty PG-13. The Patreon is hard R.
Yeah.
Hard
Yeah,
R.
hard R. Yeah,
Colin
we're gonna-
will say things you've never heard him
We're
say.
gonna work towards that.
It's
Harder
honestly,
R.
it's mostly just Colin describing sex acts and us trying to guess what they entail. We
By
barely talk.
acting them out.
We barely talk about the movie at all, and just Matt making sexual mouth noises the entire time. It's very gross.
Yeah.
All right, so I think we scared everyone away now. I think that's
Yeah.
mission
They've
accomplished.
turned us off long ago. Yes. Well, this I believe is going to be our last mini episode. Maybe there
Just
might be.
Let's hope and pray it's at least our last
knows?
mini commercial.
Yeah. This has been a Bondcast commercial. Thank you for listening, and yeah, we'll see you next time.
Patreon.com/Bondcast. Check it out.
Patreon.com/Bondcast.
We love you.
We love you. Bye.
For real, C-Rock?